folks, Ian Baker here with another impromptu wooden railway review. I have some bad news and I have some good news. The bad news is this is going to be the last episode of Wooden Railway Reviews. This kind of content to me seems a bit oversaturated by Thomas fans on YouTube, and I don't know what I bring to the table specifically in comparison to the other videos that are out there. But probably the most significant reason is since 2017, Thomas Wooden Railway is essentially dead and replaced by Thomas Wood. Now, the footage that you previously seen was recorded back in 2016, I think, and recently I ran out of that kind of footage. And I don't have anything new to look over. So I've decided to pull the plug essentially on this series. But it seems like a lot of people enjoyed watching it, so I've decided to do something a little bit different, which leads me to the good news. Wooden Railway Reviews isn't canceled. This is the last episode, but it's not canceled. It's going to be revamped into a new show, because I want to try something new. I don't want to do like the same old things like everybody else does. Like, sure, I could go into like older wooden railway stuff. I mean, I still have those boxes for them, and I can pretend they're still new in the box or whatever. But there was already a few people that looked at some of the old stuff. The person that comes to mind would be Rob McGee from Wooden Railway Reviews. He's made quite a number of them a good 10 years ago. Excellent production quality. So I want to try something different, something that nobody's ever tried before. So Wooden Railway Reviews is going to be revamped into a new show that I like to call Wooden Railway Layouts. Wooden Railway Layouts. The premise is the focus will be on a layout, either from a set that's been sold before, or maybe a set with an expansion pack, or what I'm most excited about, blueprints from the back of the book. Now, I've seen some people do some of the sets from the blueprints in the back of the book before. I know I've seen Kikri24, also known as Thomas Wooden Railway on YouTube. He's done I've seen his video on A Day at the Work set, which was his first, and he's also done that huge layout from the 1997 yearbook. But nobody else has really done a full-out series on the stuff in the back of the book. So I think I might try my hand at that. I don't want to give too much away because there's a lot still in like the planning phases. I need to get some details ironed out, but I'm looking into a release of that sometime in March. Tentatively in March. So we'll see what happens with that. But for now, we gotta wrap up Wooden Railway Reviews. So how do we do that? Well, if you're like me, I hate it when they do a show and they don't give you a nice conclusion. Like, every show needs a last hurrah. They just kind of, I hate it when they leave shows hanging. Like, they did it to the Jeffersons, they did it to Green Acres, they did it to Whitechapel. Every show, no matter how good or bad it is, needs to have a finale. So this is going to be our finale. So what can we possibly cover that would effectively wrap up Wooden Railway Reviews? And then it came to me. We're going to look at the thing that wrapped up Thomas Wooden Railway. We're going to look at Thomas Wood. The murder of Thomas Wooden Railway. Well, there it is. A Thomas Wood item. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. So, what could be said about this that hasn't already been said by a bunch of angry Thomas fans within the past, how long has this been? 2017, almost 4 years now? Like, geez. Started in 2018, I think. Yeah. So, this is Yong Bao. I know nothing about Yong Bao, except that he's Chinese, both in the Thomas universe and manufactured there in real life. The first thing that people will notice when you look at a Thomas wood, the first iteration anyway, is the lack of paint. There's just some spots where they just didn't paint at all. Like, they give you the spots where they do paint does have the nice detail of the wooden railway that we've been used to. But there's some other spots here and behind here, and I'm not really sure why they made the decision not to paint there. It looks bad. It looks unfinished. Now the windows, I might give them a pass on the windows. The old Thomas Wooden Railway had them painted black. So I can see why that these would be just the wood panel there. But it doesn't have that sharp contrast like the black did to show you that it's an empty cab. You almost can't tell that there's yellow edging around the windows because it blends in with the wood grain. The backs of the bottles aren't painted at all. And if it wasn't for the plastic front face that we've been used to for years, that one of the few things that carried over, the front would probably not be painted either. For years we've been crying about them not having a back graphic on Thomas Wooden Railway, and now we just don't get anything on the back at all. Lots of people have complained about the lack of paint, and definitely would sympathize with that because it does look pretty bad. They did fix that issue in 2019 with the second edition of Thomas Wood. But they still left some of the elements in there that should have been fixed too. And some things that people kind of overlook as they're busy looking at the paint. For example, the engine's shape. Let's take another big engine, because Yong Bao, I guess, is a big engine. So I have this is just Henry. Nothing special about Henry. I think this is from like the last year that Thomas Wooden Railway was a thing. So he's like a 2017 Henry. He's got the plastic bogies that sound like castanets. But I do like his tender shape. It's just Henry. So, what is the difference between Henry and Yong Bao? Well, the one thing that Thomas Wood decides to do to cheapen it more than just lacking the paint is they use the same shape for every engine. So if you get a Gordon or a Henry that's a big engine that you're used to, you'll get them in this size. This is the exact same size as Thomas. It's so bizarre. And the boilers are all this shape, just like a tunnel shape. They just slip on the top. And the buffer bearing's really, really thick. I guess they wanted to play around with the graphics for the front bumpers, but it's just kind of chunky. Chunky's the best word. And the tender's even lazier. It's just a box. Any tenders that you'll see, it's just a box. Yeah, no graphics on the front and the back, and the tender shape is just painted on the side. One thing is interesting. Let me see if I can't. So here's the old Henry that I have and I use in my series. It's from 97, I think. Before 1999, when they made the coal out of plastic, they just painted the coal on in a scribble pattern on the top like that for everybody. They must have done it for Donald and Douglas too, but since they're already painted black, you can't really see it on them, but the other engines you can. And it's funny, we've just went back in a circle. Now, granted, it's not just a scribble on the top, there's actually, like, you could see coal pieces, but we're back to just painting the coal on the models again. It's actually kind of interesting to see how far we've come from old to the new. And there seems to be a lot more detail. I don't know if I can say that for Thomas Wood, but there does seem to be a bit more little graphical things than there was on Henry here. See, he just has the wheel wells up here and his side. And there's a little lip on the front for his bumper. Yong Bao has like a cylinder and, you know, some extra steam pipes and things and all that junk. They put a little bit more detail into it, but it kind of clashes with the lack of paint. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's a very good replacement for it overall, in my opinion. But there is something that I should point out that I actually kind of like. I said about the lack of paint thing, and that's apparent, and you can see that on the bottom. There's no paint under where the wheels are, the chassis. It's just exposed wood. The old ones had, you know, here's old Henry. They're painted black. So then you don't pay attention to it and you can see the wheels better. With the exposed wheels, you have that same problem as you did with the window edges, is that it doesn't quite contrast enough with the wheels. But it is kind of cool how instead of just stamping the name on the bottom, they've actually cut the name. They've actually like hard stamped the name into the wood. It's actually cut into the wood. Even the serial numbers are cut into the wood. And I don't know, with the wood grain here on the bottom, I actually kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie. So what I think they should have done is, you know, instead of doing the dumb thing with the shape and lack of the paint there, and instead of like repainting the whole thing, I think they should just paint the side, this side and this side where the wheels actually attach, but leave the bottom like that. I think that's cool, and that gets the point across that, you know, this model is made of wood, which is what they've been trying to sell you this entire time. But other than that, and the track, which I don't have any track, I refuse to buy the track, I refuse to buy Thomas Wood items. I only have this one, and actually, no, I actually have another one. If I could get the door open. Ah. My ears are big. I have Diesel 10. Oh my. The Tender engine being small was disappointing in and of itself, but Diesel 10 being small is worse, I think. It's just worse. I have the original one right here. This one is the Diesel 10 from the year 2000 when the Thomas Magic Railroad stupid movie came out. So this is the first edition, and this is what he looks like 18 years later. I mean, he kind of resembles Diesel 10, but again, Diesel 10's color is just kind of, you can barely see it because it doesn't contrast enough with the wood grain. Like, here's the back, it's completely blank. This one, at least you have the plastic here with the windows. Here, nothing, just a generic shape. From the side, see, original Diesel 10's color just kind of pops more than this one. Roof graphics, I guess you could call it that. Probably the main difference, besides the fact that one's like ginormous in comparison to the other one, is the pinchy movements. The original one just kind of has it extend forwards and just kind of slides around on this track at the top. That's it. This one actually has some extra movement. It spins, albeit very roughly. It's very stiff, which I guess it kind of has to be, because otherwise it'll just like fly all over the place. Although it would be kind of funny if it was too loose and you can just move it around with your index finger and then you can pretend Diesel 10's a helicopter. I'm not gonna lie, if I was 7 years old, I'd probably have a hell of a time with that. Actually, you know what? I'm like 26 and I would have a heck of a time with that. That'd be awesome. Oh, I didn't even notice. You see that? There is window graphics right there. Did you notice that? Can we get a close up? Huh. There's actually window frames. They're very, very... I'm actually sad that I noticed that. This makes me sad. Look at that. It's just a very thin line. You could barely see it because it just blends so well with the wood grain pattern. Meanwhile, original Diesel 10s, albeit you can't get a very good look because Pinchy's in the way, but see that? He's got windows. Actually, he has the same windows on the back, unlike the other one. And yeah, I can tell those are windows. And they're painted black in the middle, so you can tell that those are windows. Yeah, it's weird. Alright, so he has the side grates, right? There's his side grates. Now look at this one's side grates. The woods. Why are the two bottom ones on the ends, they're the ones that are just, they don't have the pattern on them. They're just black. It almost made me thought that they were windows, but no, these on the sides here are windows. That's just so weird. This whole thing is weird. What's bizarre to me too is, see, they have Diesel 10's shape, like with bogies, like it's supposed to have. They have the bogie pattern plain on the side, but he only has one truck with 6 wheels, yet there's a spot a bogie goes and there's a spot a bogie goes. That's just really, really bizarre. This is just laughable. Somebody had a meeting. Somebody thought that, you know, this people had for a long time, and I don't want to do this. We're going to move on and do this. Like, somebody had a meeting, came up with this as an idea, presented it to other people. Other people thought it was a good idea. Then it got released everywhere. And then people in the market thought it was good and bought it. Or, well, or they thought it was bad and they bought it because it was bad and they wanted to show the world it's bad. Like, you know, me. But that's Thomas Wood for you. I don't really know what else to say. Except, there it is. Well, anyway, I guess that does it for Wooden Railway Reviews. Make sure you tune in to that new show, Wooden Railway Layouts, coming soon. And, yeah. I guess, that's about it.
We learned a lot. We had a lot of fun. Had a lot of laughs. Cried a little bit. But in the end,